In the winter of 1944, a new type was born. The teenager was an American invention, arising out of the war and projecting into the years of peace to come. A pleasure-seeking, product-hungry individual in their second decade of life. He or she would embody America's capitalistic ethos, but would also uphold solid democratic, if not liberal, virtues. These notions were highlighted by the New York Times January 1945 manifesto, A Teenage Bill of Rights. Its 10 demands included the right to have a say about his own life, the right to have fun and companions, the right to question ideas. This was a new way of regarding youth that allowed them some self-determination and the unquestioned right to pleasure. This is how the Western nations have nurtured their youth for the last 6.5 decades. Ever since it was defined as a separate stage of life, youth has been a political and cultural battleground. During the 1920s and 1930s, governments and adults attempted to control and regiment youth. At the same time, adolescents attempted to live their lives on their own terms. That struggle between adults and youth resolved itself into the figure of the teenager. However, the notion of the adolescent as a consuming democrat has recently displayed its limitations. Youth unemployment is soaring across the board. In some countries, it is estimated at 50%. What are kids supposed to do when they can't shop? In 2011, economic crisis turned into global unrest. Whether it be the current occupations of financial districts, the August riots in the UK, the Egyptian revolution, or student protests all around the world. Youth is at the centre of these actions, as well they might be. Young people always have a stake in the future, because that is the world that they will be living in. At present, many feel that they have inherited no future. Some indulge in spasms of vandalism and violence. Others attempt the hard work of envisioning how society could be different. In the current crisis, it may be a good idea to consider other ways of integrating adolescents into society. Obviously, a return to militarism is not a good idea, but the idealistic back-to-nature movements of the 1920s and the 1930s might provide an alternative, or even a break to capitalism's harshest effects. This is perhaps more urgent a task than we might think. The history of youth movements illustrates the very simple fact that not all are harmless or benign. Adults may yawn when they see or hear the young voices protesting inequality and calling for change, but they should listen and take heed.